Good evening, all my South Orange Mayport listeners, and all those other listeners in the towns of Melbourne, Livingston, Irvington, West Orange, East Orange, Orange, and Newark. Welcome to In the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience, and live on the World Wide Web at somore.org. And the only radio show covering all your news, opinions, politics, talk, and sports happening in the South Orange Mayport communities. You can listen to us every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's 8 to 9:30 p.m. And reach us at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626 to participate in the discussion. We have a very interesting program lined up for you this evening, and I look forward to your participation in the discussion. Now tonight, America is seeing one of its worst days. And many of you may know what that is all about. Of course, we're going to get into the Donald Sterling fiasco out there with the Los Angeles Clippers. But tonight, I want to welcome back one gentleman and welcome a new gentleman. And before I introduce him, very soon, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have another online radio experience, and that's going to be called the Newark Online Radio Experience. Coming to a location near you very, very soon. And the young man I'm going to introduce, he is going to play a major role in that with his dad as well. And his name is Hanif Abubakar. Hanif, welcome to In the Village with Anselm and the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience.
Thank you.
And also with us tonight is his dad. He's a returning guest here to In the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience. His name is Rod Abubakar. Rod, welcome again to In the Village with Anselm on the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience.
Thank you for the invitation, and I really appreciate it.
Well, you know, I invited Hanif and Rod here tonight because I know Hanif is a person who loves sports very well. And he takes his sports very seriously. And many of you may know about the Donald Sterling situation. And we're going to get into that in some type of detail here tonight on the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the show is going to be dedicated to Donald Sterling because we really and truly have to discuss what has happened out there with Donald Sterling. Now, don't forget, coming up on May 14th, the Community Coalition of South Orange and Mayport is having what's called a conversation on race. So, this is right and prime time in order for us here in the Village of Anselm and the South Orange Mayport Online Radio Experience to address this situation out there with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, before we get into talking about the discussion, let's quickly take a little listen to, let me make sure I have the right thing here, to Donald Sterling, the situation for many of you who may not know about this Donald Sterling situation. Let's take a quick listen to this audio.
Honey, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
I wish I can change the color of my skin.
That's the issue. You missed the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is we don't have to broadcast it.
I'm not broadcasting anything. I don't do anything wrong.
Nobody said you did anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. If we ever have any issues, it's because people call you and tell you things about me that are not true.
Why are you broadcasting?
I'm not broadcasting anything.
Pictures with minorities.
What's wrong with minorities? What's wrong with black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with these
It's like
families?
talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous.
Fabulous.
Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what.
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, but there's a culture.
What
People
culture?
steal certain things. Hispanics steal certain things for black. Blacks steal certain things for others. Bruce. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to accept it in the world.
So why, if the world doesn't do anything for me, if it don't make me happy?
I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue.
I can't be racist in my heart.
And that's good. I'm living in a culture, and I have to live within the culture. So that's the way it is. That's all I got. I got the whole message. You live with your heart.
I don't,
You can't be flexible. You can't.
I am flexible. I understand that that's the way you were raised and that's your culture and I'm respectful.
Why do you have to disrespect them? Those are
Who am I disrespecting?
the world before you.
Why am I disrespecting them?
Walk by walking, and you perceive as either a Latina or a white girl. Why should you be walking publicly with black people? Why? Is there a benefit to you?
I don't mean to laugh.
You laugh and keep from crying.
You know.
Laugh
Oh
and keep from
man,
crying, brother.
you know. So let's get into this now. I mean, you know, this didn't just happen. Donald Sterling didn't just happen yesterday. This is a guy that has been, as a matter of fact, he had this apartment building out there in California. And he strictly said he didn't want blacks and Latinos in the building. This is back in 2009. Donald Sterling absolutely said that. Now, I'm sure the NBA knew about that back then.
Sure.
Yep.
They knew about that back then, right? So Stern is now retired from the NBA, and we have a new guy, Silver, taking over as commissioner of the NBA. What do you guys believe is the right punishment for Donald Sterling? Hanif, what do you think is the right punishment for Donald Sterling?
Well, it's going to be hard because he's the owner of the team. So it's only so much you can do. You know, they can suspend him indefinitely, but does that really hurt him? You know, a guy like him, you got to hit him in his pockets, you know? You have to bottom him financially. But they can only fine him up to $1 million. That's nothing to him. He's a billionaire. That's nothing to him. He'll laugh at that.
Yeah.
And he'll watch the games from his house if he can't go to the games.
You know, what I had said, this is what I said, Hanif, just on that point that you had said, I had said, you know what? You have to fine this guy $50 million.
Yeah.
Break the rules.
Break the rules, yeah.
You have to fine him $50 million.
Yeah.
You can't say, you know, we're going to give $1 million.
Right.
Because he's a billionaire.
Drop
Yeah.
in the bucket.
And the only way these guys understand that I can't do it again is to hit them in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know, what do you say, Rod?
I mean, I agree with that. It has to be substantial in terms of a big number, and I mean not an outrageous number, but a number that say, oh man, you know, almost like a picture, you know, a brushback to say, listen, the rest of you guys think like that. This is what's going to happen to you. You see what I'm saying? That's my point of it. You know, then you know. The sponsors has to play a role in it, Hanif. You know what I'm trying to say? I think that has to be played in it. A lot of them dropped them today, and some of them had took a step back. I don't know if you
Reports
see that.
of State Farm.
State Farms,
reportedly
Kia.
CarMax have already took a
Virgin
step.
Airlines.
Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, quite a few of them took a step back, and I think more are going to do so.
Yeah.
This is outrageous. You know, it really is outrageous that you know that he was still had these inner feelings towards him. And I look at it, Hanif, as you, I mean, I know you just blown away because obviously you talking about two different generations.
Yeah.
His generation, Anselm and me, and your generation. I mean, you and I can identify with some of it. You see what I'm trying to say?
I'm 23 years old.
Yeah, so I know it really just, man, where is this coming from? You know, but it's mind-boggling.
No, Hanif, from your perspective, you know, looking at it, I mean, I would also like to add that this is just not black people deciding that we are unhappy with what Sterling did. I think white people have to come out and say to themselves to listen. This is wrong.
Yeah.
This is wrong. And we got to take a stand with all the others and say, you know what? We got to send a message to Donald Sterling. And it's not just for black people not to go to the games. You know, it's for also white people to decide that, listen, man, we gotta do like what Martin Luther King said, man.
What kind of country you want to live in?
Yeah, what kind of country you want to live in?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, because it is so. I mean, this guy it's like, I mean, the guy out in Nevada, Las Vegas, Bundy. You know,
Brother Bundy.
Brother Bundy. You know, it's the same thing. But you know the thing about it, the government took his cows.
Correct.
And then they returned it to him.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if that was a minority, if that was a person of color,
sure.
You think they would have returned them cows?
First of all, he wouldn't have gotten 20 or 30 years of free welfare, as they say. That's first of all, first and foremost. He would not have had a free ride owing the government that long. So there we could just drop that bucket right there.
And that's my fear, that, you know, this will be just a week's worth problem. You know, we can't just stand here and, you know, make noise about it just for a week because it's fresh. And then a week later, you know, we forget about it. We stop protesting. Yeah. You know, it can't be 1 week thing.
It has to be sustained. You know, yeah. And that's where I think when you talk about young folks, young people like his generation, that's the torch that has to be passed. That energy. You know what I'm trying to say? So that energy, the flavor that he has in his mind, in his heart, you have to. It's going to be up to you guys, Hanif, and your generation to really push this stuff in terms of social media, getting out there and pushing all the media buttons that you guys have access to. And I think when the ground swells in that form, in that fashion, we can get something done. I mean, when you start Twitter and the rest of the Facebook stuff that young folks do, I think that would really get to the people that's in terms of the sponsorship.
And you know, the thing about it is that I have quotes that I mentioned in the Village with Anselm and the South Orange Maple Online Radio Experience. And there is one quote that I keep mentioning over and over and over. And I was happening to look at ESPN News, and I saw them mention the quote that I always mention. It's a quote by Martin Luther King. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And you know, and what has happened is that many times, and look at in this community of South Orange and Maple, what I can say, many people are silent on certain things that happen.
Sure.
They're really silent.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people know Donald Sterling was a racist.
From years. You talking about years. This is not nothing overnight. This is to the 80s, before this young fella was even born. You know what I'm saying? I was a younger fella. But this is the views that he had probably all his life.
And you know, but Hanif, let's get back to saying that what we think is the type of punishment, a type of serious punishment that can send a message to all those others like Donald Sterling, that, you know, if you're going to do it, by the way, let me digress a little bit. So I heard many people calling in and saying the guy made a private statement. His statement was private. What do we know? We can't express no more freedom of speech.